Hi, everyone. It's Margaret Manning here with 60 and Me. Thank you so much for being here today and joining me on my little adventure of life here. So happy that you're with me and appreciate your time and just the commitment that you make to 60 and Me. Thank you. Now, I've got a cup of tea this morning, but I haven't got it ready yet because I wanted to show you, for those who missed it, my new little cup. And this is a cup I bought at a charity shop in the UK, and it's a little, the brand is Canyon. And it's lovely from the outside. It's very delicate and sweet. It's bone china. But the beautiful thing is when you turn it over, there's beautiful flowers inside. Isn't that gorgeous? And so I just thought that was a lovely little cup, and I'm going to put in it on my tea, which is in a blue package too, and it's called Mint Refresh. It's a pucka tea, and I'm going to have a mint tea in my little cup. But I wanted you to see the flowers. If I put tea in it, you can't see the flowers. So it was a precious little find, and it was in a charity for pets, which I supported, and found this little cup there. Anyway, a topic for today. Now, this is going to be one that is probably going to make you think. I don't want it to depress you. I don't want it to take you anywhere dark. But it's one that when I read this article by Julia Hubble, I just thought, I've got to share this. I just have to share this because it's just such a shocking way of looking at time and aging, and I just thought it would be fun to try. So Julia lives in the States, and when she went to a recent conference in Denver, she happened to go past, they had all these freebies to give away. It was at a kind of a lifestyle conference, and she picked up this little diary, which was a 20-year diary, and she thought, oh, that's kind of cute. She grabbed a couple of those, put them in the bag, and went home. And then it snowed, and she got stuck inside in a snowstorm for a few days, and thought to herself, well, this is a perfect time to sit down and reflect on this. And she pulled out the little diary, and she thought, 20-year diary. And she thought, my gosh, when I was 15, I thought in 20 years, I'm going to be like 45, 30, 15, 25, 35. I'm thinking, that's so old. Like, I just don't want to be that old. And she said, then and I was sort of like, 45, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, 65. That's 20 years from now. I can't even get my head around that. And it was such an obvious thing. I mean, we think about time as like, oh, it's only, it's at least 10 years away, but 10 years goes super fast. And 20 years goes pretty fast too. So she sat down and tried to think about what life was going to be like for herself she's now 66, when she was 86. 20 years from now, she would be 86. And what does that mean? And when I was reading the article for her, I really started to identify with her. She was saying things like, even now, like I'm 66, I don't feel 66. I mean, I'm 70 and I don't feel 70. I just turned 70 and I just kind of bumped over the milestone. It didn't even touch me. I didn't even really think about it. But there we are. 60 and Me is now moved into the 70. And that's where it should be. We should be just moving forward, just as if we just are who we are. But that's the point. In 20 years' time, I'll be 90. And I'm hoping that I'll live to 95, 100. I mean, that's all our goal. We're eating well. We're taking care of ourselves. We're doing all these amazing things to live longer and to have happy longer lives. But as Julia says, really honestly, it's like, okay, I'm like that. I'm healthy. I'm going to keep on going. I've got so many things that I love to do. I'm just going to keep on doing them. But, when you're 66, you can do things that you can't do when you're 86. Just realistically, it's not that will fail at something or you'll get sick or whatever. I mean, these things can happen, but you will just get older. And it's not so much aging as it is evolving, she says. I mean, this is a really good way of looking at this. And there are certainly things that your body will not be able to do as easily when you're 86 as when you are 66. Julia, for example, loves to travel. She does adventure cruises and adventure tours. She climbs Mount Kilimanjaro. She's done all kinds of amazing, physical things in her 60s, and she's planning, she says, to keep on going. But the challenge, of course, is that how do you adapt? And so that's what it's all about here, is that, there's nothing scary about getting older and just keep moving forward, because there's something about us that understands that and adapts to it. So, for example, you may have been really afraid to admit that you were 50. You may have had some trouble with 60. I had trouble with 60. But as you get older, there's something chemically in you almost that makes you feel like it's okay. I'm me. I don't feel 50, 60, 70. I just feel me. And that's, I think, that's the challenge and the opportunity of building this 20-year calendar. What are you going to say you're going to achieve in 20 years? Well, you can say you're going to climb all the seven, you can visit all 7 continents and climb the highest peak in every continent. Or for me, I'm going to visit all the cities in the world on 7 hills, because that's one of my obsessions, I guess. But the reality is that 20 years, we can make our plans. We can say we're going to do these things and plan for them. Healthy eating, exercise, good attitude, staying social, having friends. We know all the things that we need to do in order to stay well into our 80s, which is where most of us will be in 20 years. But at the same time, we have to consider that life is going to change, that our bodies are going to adapt to aging, and that there'll be things that not that we can't do, but we'll have to redefine them. I mean, she says it in a really, really nice way. It's you simplify and streamline. Like, you can't climb probably Mount Everest when you're 86. Maybe there's a rare person that can or even has. But the reality is you'll streamline and simplify, and you'll still do the things that you love, but you'll do them at the pace that your body and your mind and your circumstances can allow. And I think that's a really powerful way of looking at a 20-year calendar. What are you going to be doing in 20 years? Not at the end of the 20, but for the next 20 years. What's your calendar going to look like? Well, it should obviously include the things that Julie is doing, and the things that we've talked about lots of times on 60 and Me, in terms of taking care of your body, mixing with people, being social, so getting out there and doing things in the world where you can be a purpose and have passion about something, have those things that bring you bliss in your life. Of course, you've got to do all those things. Those should be maybe the daily activities on this 20-year calendar. Perhaps meditate, do brain exercises, whatever you want to make down your daily checklist. But then if there's things that you want to do, just start thinking about that now, and where you're going to be in 20 years in order to do them. So, just like Julia said, that when she was 15, she couldn't imagine being 35. And when she was 35, she couldn't imagine being 55. And now we're 60. I can't imagine being 80 or 90 because I just don't feel my age anymore. So I think it's an interesting conversation. We can't be young forever, but we can be young at heart forever. We can be young in our attitude, in our mindset, and in the way we look at the world. So I think it's pretty cool to have this conversation. My mom died when she was 50, and a lot of women's mothers died quite young because we didn't have the medicine and the technology that we have today. So we are very fortunate in some ways that we are now living a time where we can take care of ourselves, get those medical tests done, and take preventive measures, but also just do the things that we know are going to help us stay strong and positive, and and just looking forward to that 20 that's coming, and maybe 30 or 40. So what do you do? What are you going to do with the time that's given to you now? Think about that quote by Mary Oliver, where she says, what are you going to do with this one precious life? What's on the agenda for the next 20 years for you? Really like to know what your comments are. Just leave your comments in the section below. Have you started making plans for that next 20 years of your life? Have you got some projects that you're going to be trying and achieving, or at least achieving at the place that you can achieve them? And I think that's a really wonderful thought. So thank you, Julia, for writing this article for us to get us thinking about what's on our calendar for the next 20 years. Where will we all be in 2039? Great conversation. I hope you have a really good day, everybody. Think about this in some detail and put your comments in the section below. Let's have a real heart-to-heart conversation on this. I do look forward to your comments and conversation, and we'll talk again really very soon. Bye-bye for now.